Today, we're going to pop the hood on one of the most fascinating AI architectures we've come across and really dissect its anatomy. We're going to explore what makes a digital mind tick. This is the Prometheus ecosystem from Replica AI.
You know, the one question that really defines everything we're about to see is this. What if a system could actually evolve on its own? And I'm not talking about simple automation here. I mean an AI that learns, acts, and gets better, completely autonomously. That's the core promise of Prometheus, and we're about to see exactly how it tries to deliver.
So, here's our roadmap. We're going to follow the anatomy of this digital organism. We'll start with the big picture, and then we'll dive deep into each part. The brain, its memory, how it takes action, how it communicates, and finally, what it all means for the future.
All right, first up, let's get our heads around the main concept. What exactly is the Prometheus ecosystem?
Okay, I want you to forget the idea of just software or an app. The best way to think about Prometheus is as a digital organism. Every single part we're about to look at serves a vital function, kind of like organs in a body, all working together towards one goal: autonomous operation.
And just like any organism, Prometheus has a command center. So now, let's get into its brain, the place where everything connects.
The definition of this brain comes straight from the source code itself. It's a server built with FastAPI, a modern high-performance Python framework, and its whole job is to be the main gateway for all information. It gathers and unifies data from everywhere to give the large language model, Gemini, all the context it needs to actually think.
So where does all this knowledge for the brain come from? Well, look at this list. It's pulling from external APIs, databases, config files, reports that it generated itself, even raw PDFs and spreadsheets. This ability to consume so many different formats is what gives the system this almost omnipresent awareness of its operating environment.
But a brain, no matter how powerful, is pretty useless without senses to perceive the world and a memory to learn from it. Let's look at how Prometheus sees and remembers.
This distinction right here is absolutely critical. Perception is an active process, like our senses. The Oracle Data Collector v1.py script acts as the system's eyes and ears, constantly looking for what's new. Memory, on the other hand, is the record of it all. Every single change gets saved, creating a persistent history of everything the system has ever seen.
And the way this is built just shows you how sophisticated the project is. A comment in the code itself reveals the use of domain-driven design and well-known design patterns. For anyone who isn't a developer, this just means it's not some cobbled-together script. It's a well-thought-out architecture designed to be robust, organized, and scalable. This is high-level software engineering.
This chart illustrates something incredible: the system's ability to evaluate itself in real time. A component called the metrics tracker keeps an eye on dozens of metrics, like what we see here. It's like a high-performance athlete who doesn't just compete, but also monitors their own heart rate, speed, and energy use every single second. It knows exactly how well it's performing. Okay, so we've seen that the system can think, and it can remember. But how does it go from theory to practice? How does it actually do things in the digital world?
The execution flow, which is detailed in this PyData Collection Executor v2.py script, is brilliant in its simplicity. The system reads markdown files, which are super easy for both humans and AIs to write. It looks for Python code blocks, isolates them, and then, this is key, it executes them safely in a sandbox. Finally, it records whether it worked or not, closing that feedback loop.
But here's the real kicker. How does the system make sure the AI actually generates the code it needs with a very specific prompt instruction? This rule, found right in the code, forces the language model to always respond with a code block that's ready to run. It's such a simple command, but it's the key that makes this whole automation engine turn.
So after all that thinking, perceiving, and acting, any organism needs to communicate. So let's check out the system's voice and how it tells us what it's done and what it's discovered. And Prometheus's voice is incredibly versatile. It can communicate in all these different ways, from a simple email report to real-time performance dashboards, all the way to interactive 3D visualizations. And the most impressive part? It can use its voice to actually create and define other AI agents. What this table really shows us is the system's adaptability. It can whisper a simple piece of info over email, or it can shout a complex analysis through an interactive 3D plot. It doesn't just have one voice. It chooses the right tone for every message and every audience. So when you put all these pieces together, what do you have? What's the real impact here? And what is the next leap that a system like Prometheus really represents?
What makes Prometheus so innovative, especially in the context of the Brazilian tech scene, is this complete integration. It's not just an automation tool, and it's not just a chatbot. It's a cohesive architecture that closes the loop. Perceive, think, remember, and act. Finding systems with this end-to-end philosophy is just not that common.
And this is where our analysis takes a quantum leap. Prometheus isn't just a single agent, it's a creator of agents. It uses one of its own scripts to generate an entire ecosystem of new AIs, each with its own persona, goals, and place in a hierarchy. It doesn't just do the work, it builds its own team.
This quote from the code is maybe the most revealing of all. Each agent has its own logic, bias, and decision-making. They can propose and then vote on improvements to the system itself. Just think about that for a second. We're not talking about automation anymore. We're talking about autonomous governance. It's a system literally designed to evolve on its own.
And the scale of this is just staggering. The system is capable of generating and managing an ecosystem of over 30 detailed autonomous agents, each with its own traits and goals, all working in a coordinated fashion.
And all of this leads us to the final thought. Maybe the real revolution of systems like Prometheus isn't about replacing people. Maybe it's about creating an entirely new kind of colleague, a digital autonomous coworker that's capable of evolving. The real question is, are we, as professionals and as a society, ready for that kind of collaboration?